Thank you, Morgan, for that fine introduction. And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I want to, first of all, add my welcome to all of you here today for this event. Each year, Widener provides this forum to discuss pertinent topics of the day regarding diversity. Why? Because communication is the basis for understanding. Why do we do this? Because while we have begun to overcome, we haven't fully overcome just yet. Why at a law school? Because lawyers, the defenders of freedom, lawyers as problem solvers must be culturally as well as legally competent in order to be effective. I have many thanks today, and first and foremost, I want to thank my Widener family in assisting in making this program once again a reality. For 7 years we've done this. You know, in certain belief systems, 7 is the year of perfection. We'll see. My thanks, first of all, goes to Professor Randy Lee and his committee, the faculty committee. And would you all please just stand so that you can be recognized? I want to say a special thanks to the committee and to Sandy Grafe for all of their efforts to facilitate this program. Would you stand, be recognized, members of the committee? And for those of you who don't know him, and I'm sure that's probably just a handful of people perhaps in this room, Randy Lee was already standing. He's at the back of the room. He didn't come forward. I also have help from our alums and friends in the greater Harrisburg community who are members of the Dean's Diversity Board, who act as a sounding board on issues and programs we are implementing. And they are here today. Would you please stand and be recognized? All the members of the Dean's Diversity Board. I want to take special note of the fact that one of the persons who stood is Janice Leffridge, who is the Director of Diversity for the Pennsylvania Bar. And thank you, Janice, for being here with us today. To the members of the various panels who have given their time to be here today, I look forward to hearing to what you have to say. Thank you for coming. And last but never least, to my students, student leaders, I want you to listen very carefully to what you hear. Some of it may sound foreign to you. Some of it may seem like a nugget from history, but it's very important that you listen and you hear what is being said. And whether you are a minority or not, by the way, diversity is not just for minorities. This is an issue that does affect you, each and every one of you, each and every one of us. To my friends in the media, PCN and others who are here today, I want to thank you once again for your service to this Commonwealth in making this important dialogue accessible to the masses. Let me just say, but for the media on the mall 50 years ago, we wouldn't know much about what happened there. Now, just about a month ago, during the 85th Academy Awards, Daniel Day-Lewis won the Best Actor Award for his performance as Abraham Lincoln in the Spielberg movie, Lincoln. That was just a month or so ago. 150 years ago, on January 1, 1863, Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was implemented, and those slaves in the states of rebellion were set free. 100 years ago, last month, a young baby girl named Rosa Louise McCauley was born in Tuskegee, Alabama. She was a small child suffering from poor health and chronic bronchitis. She had disabilities. She gave up her dream to be a teacher because she had to take care of a sick grandmother. However, Rosa made the dream of countless thousands, yea, millions, come alive when she refused to give up her seat to a white man. Rosa Parks, the late Rosa Parks, was known as the first lady of the modern civil rights movement. A young preacher, inspired by the life of Gandhi, was propelled into history by his association with that sick little girl, Rosa Parks, and a man named Asa Philip Randolph. Randolph, in 1941, led a march on Washington that convinced FDR, the president, to ban by executive order discrimination in the defense industry. Later, Randolph pressured Truman to end segregation in the armed forces, and the 1963 March on Washington was his idea. 50 years ago, that young preacher, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of the several speakers of that day, ignited the audience. When he spoke, his words not only inspired those 250,000 in attendance, but they echoed throughout all of Washington and, yea, I say the world. Dr. King's discussion of the dream was impromptu, a departure, a detour, sparked by the gospel singer Mahalia Jackson's cry, "Tell them about the dream, Martin." The dream Dr. King would share that day would ultimately claim his life. But as it did so, it transformed the minds, the lives, and the dreams of not only his fellow Americans, but people around the world. Dr. King's words remain alive today, and they continue to provide the framework, the barometer, by which we must measure the progress and character of our nation. Dr. King spoke about more than just a dream that day. He also pointed out that when, quote, the architects of our great republic, unquote, wrote the Declaration of Independence, they created a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. That note, he continued, was a promise that all Americans would be guaranteed the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 50 years ago, Dr. King insisted that the note had come back marked insufficient funds. We are here today to discuss to what degree the funds in the American Bank of Justice are more bountiful today than they were 50 years ago, and whether they are yet sufficient to cover the note created at our nation's founding. We are here today in 2013, 50 years after that speech, to discuss when we take that note today to the Bank of Justice, what kind of jury does it guarantee? What opportunities does it provide? And what is the means to our schools in our communities?